Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about changing the way you see your breakup. So obviously on the channel, we are always talking about different aspects of relationships, breakups, and all kinds of components to better yourself with your life and in your relationships. But we also want you to feel better and work through your own issues. And part of that is being able to recognize how you see the world and how you make sense of the world. Because that's going to have a huge impact on all your relationships. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes people don't realize they're negative. They always see things in a negative perspective. And that wears down on a partner.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll be like, you're so negative, and you don't even realize it. Maybe you're meaning it and trying to find the humor in it, and you be negative about it, but they don't see it that way. And so you have to be aware of things, and a big part of that is being aware of yourself and what's going on within yourself. And the words that we tell ourselves are huge. And there are many times that you are saying things that you're unaware of, but it's having a huge impact on your behavior. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, what do I mean? Like, won't versus can't. Mm-hmm. I can't do that, okay? Maybe you can't fly, right?
Right.
But you won't do something is a choice. It's a decision. And so you got to be aware of these little things because they're going to come up in your relationships and your relationship within yourself.
Yeah, and this is not only just about talking to a partner, but this is also how we talk to ourselves in our own minds and in our own situations. Our words are incredibly powerful, and we've talked about it quite a bit on the channel. You know, when Margaret was here, she would always talk about self-talk and the importance of self-talk.
The critical inner voice.
Yeah.
With the Firesteins. Is it the Firesteins?
Firestones, I think. Yeah. So there's a lot of power in the way that we talk to ourselves. And in our brains, certain neural pathways are literally being strengthened or created when we think certain thoughts or talk to ourselves in a certain way, think a certain way about our situation. So it does make a neurological shift in our perspective, how we see things, whether we do see things positively or negatively, you know, what we choose to focus on. So today we're going to focus on just that. These are going to be some phrases, some ways that we can alter our verbiage, the way we talk to ourselves, in order to change our thinking and our feelings and to help us heal through this breakup. Now, these following phrases are coming from an article that I actually saw on CNBC's website by Kathy and Ross Petras. So if you're interested, you can search that up. I think the article talks about sounding and feeling more confident, and that's what we want all of you to do.
That's right. Confidence is very attractive.
So the very first one we have is we often say to ourselves, I have to do that. Oh, I have to do that. They rephrase it as I get to do that. So it's a small little change and talking more about the opportunity to change. You know, you're thinking, I get to be heartbroken by my ex. I'm so excited. Obviously, we don't mean it in that way.
Yeah.
But what we do mean is that you get to be exposed to attachment theory and learn about attachment styles. I mean, there's been people for decades that haven't learned about this stuff, that haven't been able to change the route of their lives and their children's lives through this. So it really is an opportunity.
Many of you guys watching the channel are probably going to know far more about it than even your own therapist do.
Yeah.
And I hear it probably close to every week.
That's true.
I brought it up to my therapist. They didn't really know. They're like, oh, I think I heard of attachment theory. And you're like, but what?
Isn't this your job?
Yeah. So it's one way of thinking of it is I get to do that. I like that because it's like sometimes even if you say I have to go to work today. What about you get to go to work today? Isn't getting to go to work a lot better than and having money to pay your bills than I can't go to work today because I have no job?
Yeah.
And I'm broke?
Yeah.
I know it sounds small, but when you think about it, I mean, isn't it great when you have a job, especially if you don't have a job and you're thinking, I wish I had a job. So yeah, I get to go to work today. It's small, but it's just a silly example to think about. Here's another one. I can't do that. It's too hard, right? I can't do that. I used to hear that a lot with some of the kids that I worked with. I can't do math. It's too hard. Well, when you tell yourself, I can't do that, you believe it. And you're already frustrated just sitting down, just going into your class, just trying to learn a new lesson, just because your mindset is, I can't do that. It's too hard. Well, you can say something like, sometimes I struggle with math, but I'll get it. I can figure it out.
Or I can try.
Yeah, I can try to do it. I can figure it out. And it's a much more positive place. And think about how different it feels when you say, I can figure this out. Right? Doesn't your mood shift almost immediately? Imagine, I can't do that. I can't do this. It's too hard. This problem's too hard. All right. I can figure it out.
Yeah, it's a small shift, but it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And a lot of times with breakups, we hear all of you saying, I can't move past this. I can't get this person out of my mind. And it's that small shift of language of, you can. Maybe it's not right now, and that's okay. But you can. So it's important to see it in that way.
I agree.
Another one is, I should do that, or I shouldn't do that, instead of I will or I won't do that. And so this one is important because this talks about the expectations that maybe others have on you, or maybe that you have on yourself. I should be past the breakup by now. I should be, dating somebody else at this moment. I should be single for a while. We place all of these expectations instead of making a decision. I'm going to put myself out there and see what dating is like.
It almost implies like you're doing something wrong when you're saying should. Like where you're at is wrong, right?
Yeah.
I should be over this by now. Okay, then it's implying, okay, you're wrong for not being over it by now. When you look at it from that perspective, it really shifts your mindset. So we don't like shoulds.
Yeah.
And we've covered that in other videos too. Here's another one. Why is this happening to me? Think about that. How many of you have said that to yourselves? Why is this happening to me? I can't believe this is happening to me. I heard a story the other day about somebody who said this. A woman, her dad had got cancer, and she was saying, well, why is this happening to you? And he was like, why not me? Why wouldn't it happen to me? And it kind of made her realize, wow, like looking at it completely different. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Maybe you say, well, what am I going to do about this? Or how am I going to learn from this? Shift the questions you're asking yourself. What am I learning from this? What are you learning from this breakup? I bet you're learning a lot on this channel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's okay to be confused and to be angry and to have that feeling of why. But if you stay stuck there, it can cause you to spiral and to cycle. You have to start trying to break out of these narratives and stories that we tell ourselves, because we do derive meaning from that. The next one is I never should have. And along with this one is a lot of the what ifs. What if I had only blank? What if things were different? What if I didn't do this or that? So we can start getting in these cycles, and this can be endless. There's many different possibilities that could have happened with many different outcomes. There's no way for us to tell the future or to manipulate the past to get the outcome that we wanted. So a way to say this differently is, because I did that, I now know blank. We're humans, we learn through experience, and this is a natural part of it.
Absolutely. And kind of along those lines is like, when you feel like I failed. I failed at this. Okay. Maybe the attempt didn't work the way that you wanted it, but that's a different way of seeing it. Not that you failed. I mean, you hear about the light bulb and how it was done like 499 times before they got it right on the 500th time, It's like, okay, he failed all those times, but then he got it right once, and it changed the world. Many people that do something great in this world failed at it numerous times. It didn't work many times that it went wrong, things didn't go right, you didn't get the results you were looking for. But if you look at it as, well, that attempt didn't work, it's better, and it keeps you more likely to stay motivated.
And the one that I hear with this one in regards to relationships is, I'm a failure, I can't keep a relationship, or I can't do relationships, or I suck at relationships. Oftentimes, we tell ourselves this because of our experiences. So we label ourselves as inadequate, as incompetent with connecting with others when it's not true. You know, we are learning through each experience, and we can improve. Okay? There hasn't been a person where I thought, wow, that person's completely hopeless. They're never going to have a healthy relationship. And we've seen a lot of cases, so that's saying a lot.
Yep.
You know, there's not been one person that I've lost hope in. Another one that's very common is, it's not fair. It's not fair. I didn't deserve to be broken up with. Our relationship was good. They didn't have a right to end things. And a way to reframe this one is, I can deal with it anyways. Is saying, I can handle it. Sure, things didn't go in my favor. Sure, things didn't go as I expected them or as I hoped. But I can manage. And oftentimes we tell ourselves that we can't. We feel so desperate, and we get into these places where we just feel like we can't do it anymore. But somehow the sun still rises the next day. Somehow you still wake up and you manage to keep pushing forward. So we want you all to have that type of mindset, that it is going to be difficult. Breakups aren't hard. Separating from somebody that you love. For some of you, this might be somebody that you've been married to, that you have a legal bond, that you have this emotional bond, you have children with. You know, there's many ways to be connected with somebody, and your whole life can turn upside down with the breakup. But we want you all to maintain hope throughout.
Absolutely. And here's another one. It's never going to change. This breakup's never going to change. This breakup's never going to turn around. Okay, how about saying, this breakup hasn't turned around yet, but I'm going to be ready when I have the opportunity. It hasn't changed yet. Or I can change the way I approach this, right? Depending upon what the situation is. But when you think something's not going to change, just say to yourself, well, it hasn't changed yet. But that just allows me more time to work on things and get ready. It's a positive way to look at something.
Exactly. And one of those golden nuggets that many of you get from therapy, it's a very popular thought nowadays, but it's focusing on what you can control versus what you can't control. So for those of you who haven't heard this before, this is talking about your internal locus of control. What's going on inside of you, your own feelings, your emotions, how you perceive things, versus your external locus of control, which is things outside of you that you don't have much power over. So focusing on yourself can cause you to gain that confidence of, wow, there are things that I do actually have power over. The last one that we want to talk about is using words like never or always, absolutes. And this is one that, you know, if you start using this in your relationship, you're going to get in a lot of fights. You never do the dishes, or you're always nagging, you're always bickering. Using absolutes is a way to see things in black and white, and it can really be antagonistic. You know, it's
provoking.
Yeah.
From a partner. You're never on time. Well, I may be late 60% of the time, but there's 40% that I'm there. Right?
Yeah.
Always and never. I mean, when you have somebody tell you always or never, it really gets under your skin. Because you're not getting credit for the times where you do the thing correctly.
Yeah. Exactly. And sometimes we use this against ourselves. I'm never going to get over this. Or I'm always going to be stuck in unhealthy patterns. So if you think this way, you know, some people are really into the woohoo manifestation. But as I talked about earlier, there are things that happen in our brains which cause us to see the world differently. So this is not just some type of abstract concept that we're talking about. We're talking about thoughts, and thoughts that are being strengthened or reinforced in us. So try to avoid absolutes, okay? Not saying that you're never going to get over this. There will be a day that you are going to have that confidence back, that you are going to be able to see things differently and find yourself again.
being aware of these little things can make a big difference in your attitude. Just being aware of what you say, how you think things, it's going to change the way you act. It's going to change the way you behave. And you're going to be a lot more likely to be effective when you're mindful of limiting thoughts or beliefs that are holding you back.
Exactly.
So something for you guys to think about. Hopefully you found this video helpful. And of course, if you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you're ready to talk.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.